as a prime minister negotiating with his corporate friends in violations of his constitutional obligations as the prime minister of the country. This is abhorrent. This is unprecedented. We need to ensure that governments have proper oversight, not provide ministers and cabinet with unlimited powers to make decisions in violations of constitutional obligations.
NDP MP Leah Gazan is calling out Marcus Carnivorous as he seeks to eat the regulations intended to make sure that resource projects in Canada don't destroy places that we get our drinking water from, and the places that we get our lumber from, and the places that we get our clean air from. You know, the environment. Yeah, when people talk about the environment, they're just not talking about faraway woodland areas you'll never travel to where the only living things that will be harmed will be animals and trees that you don't care about, though you may want to start trying to care about wildlife. They're talking about areas where people live, particularly Indigenous people who for generations lived on the land that the Canadian government encouraged them to settle on because we didn't think the land was good for farming. In fact, the government many years ago passed laws that made it illegal for Indigenous people at the time to have what would have been considered modern farming equipment. The people in power did everything in their power to fuck over our Indigenous people, and now that we've discovered that the piles of rocks that we shove them onto actually have some value, the government wants to allow private mining corporations to dig up all those rare earth minerals without regard for the fact that those minerals have people living either on them or very near them. And the thing is, mining is a dirty business. We know that it's commonplace for mining businesses to not follow environmental regulations because you can't lock up a company after they've made their money. If they get fined, they can just move their assets to another company, pay the shareholders out, and leave a defunct company holding the bag. These environmental regulations were put in place because people realized that having the things that people needed to live poisoned and destroyed so that third-party companies could make money wasn't very Canadian. If the Liberals think these minerals are so valuable and can be extracted safely, why aren't they forming a crown corporation to do it? Because the government can't pack up and shirk responsibility the way that the business boys do. If the Liberals want to allow all this mining to go forward, change the laws so that mining corporations can't protect shareholders behind limited liability corporations. Change the laws so that executives go to jail and have their estates liquidated if the Indigenous communities end up with poisoned water. But nobody is going to do that because the game is always to privatize the profits and socialize the risk and the cleanup, if the cleanup ever happens.